Well, out there is the Pacific Ocean, but this is not exactly Hawaii. I've been told on good authority that the water temperature is 10 degrees. That's colder than the North Sea. I'm a bit reluctant about going for a swim. But I won't be the only one. Over the next few days here in Vancouver, over 3,000 people will be doing the same thing as they take part in the World Triathlon Championships. But their journey won't end here. After the swim, they've still got a 40-kilometre bike ride and a 10-kilometre run. Most of the 3,000 will be made up of amateur age groupers, but there's also the junior and under-23 titles to be won here. Last to go, of course, will be the elite athletes, battling it out to be crowned champion of the world, in a year that, with the Olympics just weeks away, offers the chance of a golden double. They won't be taking any tips from me, though. Yep, I can report it is absolutely freezing in there. And they've got 2 laps of the swim course around those buoys that we can see. Into transition, up the beach, onto the bikes, 8 laps on a route that takes it into Stanley Park and out onto Beach Road here. Once they're done with the bikes, into transition again, running shoes on again, 3 laps of the run course. At least by that time they would have warmed up. Vancouver is consistently rated as one of the best places to live in the world, and its coastal location and large amounts of open space make it a perfect venue for triathlon. The first world titles to be decided were in the junior categories, raced over half the Olympic distance, and also raced, unfortunately, in the rain. But it didn't seem to affect Great Britain's Kirsty McWilliam. And what was it feeling like running towards the line, knowing you were going to take the gold medal?
Oh, it was just... I couldn't quite register, you know, and I started crying as well, which probably wasn't the best. Look a bit silly in the photos, but it's this amazing feeling, you just can't describe it.
Next came the junior men, and there was more British success in the shape of a bronze medal for Jonathan Brownlee, younger brother of Alistair, who looks set to be one of our Olympic triathletes in Beijing.
I didn't have the best of swims. It was a bit cold and I got a bit beaten up. I came out in the second pack and gave it everything I had on the bike, but I couldn't catch them. And then the lead kept on increasing and increasing. I thought, oh, this is over now. Best I can hope for is 4th, because there's a group of 3 of them away. And I got into the run, I thought, let's give it everything. And then I heard the time gaps were coming down, and before I knew it, I could see him. I thought, let's get this guy. And then in the final little bit, I gave it everything, and that was it.
So an excellent start for Great Britain, with a gold and a bronze from the first 2 races. 2 days later, the weather got even worse. The swim section for the age group races was cancelled due to choppy waters, and so their triathlon became a duathlon, with a swim replaced by a 3-kilometre run, then the 40-kilometre bike ride and a further 10-kilometre run to complete. It was still a big test though, so congratulations to all the finishers, of all ages. Back in the city, on the eve of the under-23 and elite races, I went to Vancouver's famous revolving restaurant to meet Heather Williams, performance director of the British team. So we've had a great start to this competition with a junior race, 2 medals there.
Yeah, the racing started on Thursday, early Thursday morning. We saw the junior women start, Kirsty McWilliam, gold medal in the very first event, and then an hour later Johnny Brownlee, younger brother of Alistair, stepped up to the mark and came away with the bronze medal. So excellent for our development programme, really helping us to develop really high quality young athletes.
And Alistair going in the under-23 as well, he must be one of the favourites to win that.
Yeah, there's several guys in that under-23 race that are racing primarily as senior athletes, but yeah, Alistair, he had a great few weeks, you know, on the podium in Madrid 2 weeks ago, so full of confidence, in good form, and we're hoping for a very good result tomorrow.
And the British team building up to Beijing, obviously Tim Don is not here. That's quite big news, not to miss the World Championships.
Sure. Yeah, it's always a shame to miss the World Championships. At the end of the day, it's one of the biggest races of the year. But Tim's obviously raced early season in Australia and in Japan. Came back to Europe, raced Madrid a couple of weeks ago, and he's just taking a short rest from competition, really staying clear of too much long haul travel. So he'll recharge his batteries and he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
So some of the British team have stayed away to focus on the Olympics in Beijing, but one member who is here is Ollie Freeman.
Well, I'm the only elite male actually racing this weekend, so I do have a bit of a free rein. You know, it's a bit weird being here, not without all the other guys, who I normally race with here. But yeah, exactly. It's just going to be a good opportunity for me to just get stuck in there and see what kind of result I can get, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It's all a bit more complicated for the women's team. Their priority this weekend is to try and secure a third spot at the Olympic Games.
Personally, I need to be within the top 5, and we also need another result from one of the other elite girls. They need to be either top 8 or top 12. So anyway, it is complicated. It's all about points, but it's all really for me because I'm chosen as the third spot if we can gain that third spot. So I'll be racing out there to get my own Olympic spot.
So in order to boost the British team's chances, Helen Tucker needs to continue the excellent form that gave us second place in the Madrid World Cup 2 weeks ago. The swim water is very cold. Is that going to make a difference?
Yeah, it's really, really cold. I think we've probably got more of an advantage over some of the other countries, definitely, because we're a bit more used to it. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, half the people are going to be on the start line going, oh my God, it's so cold, rather than this is world champs. So I think that's hopefully that works to our advantage.
So what are our chances of getting on the podium here at the World Championships?
Well, in the men's race it'll be tough. We've obviously got Ollie Freeman racing tomorrow, and I'm confident that he'll have a good race. And if he can be with the front pack on the swim and on the bike, have a good run. Looking for a top result. On the women's side, we've seen this year the Helen Tucker come back through after a long period of injury, which is great to see. And she'll definitely be, looking to start challenging with those top girls.
And barring Australia's Emma Snowsill, most of the top girls are here in Vancouver. The clear favourite is Vanessa Fernandes, the reigning world champion from Portugal. Her recent victory ahead of Helen Tucker in Madrid was her 20th World Cup win. But will she be able to handle the cold?
I don't know. I'm not very experienced with the cold, but I'll try to get my body warm. I can get possible, but it won't be easy,
It would be nice to win 2 gold medals in one season, though, wouldn't it?
It's too much.
In the men's race, there's another clear favourite, Spain's Javier Gomez. He narrowly lost the World Championships last year in a sprint finish and has been practically unbeatable ever since.
So this will be his first Olympics,
but he'll face strong competition from home favourite Simon Whitfield, Olympic champion 8 years ago. What will it take to win the World Championships?
It's going to take a heck of a race, it really is. With what's going on with selection, with what's going on with countries needing top placings to secure their Olympic spots. I'll give you an example. Greg Bennett, who's like an older brother than me, he needs a podium to go to the Olympic Games. That's what the Australian position that the Australians are in. With Greg, with his back up against the wall, his Olympic spot on the line, you're going to see a great performance from Greg. And so to win World Championships is going to mean beating people, not only Javier and Bevan Docherty, who has pride on the line, but Benno.
But can Whitfield, one of the senior athletes on the tour, and now with other priorities in his life aside from triathlon, really get past the seemingly invincible Gomez? Who would you say are your biggest rivals in this race? Because there's a lot at stake for some people, isn't there?
Of course, I think the big one is Simon. Simon Whitfield is racing at home. He is one of the best in the world. He has won 11 World Cups, Olympic champion, so everybody knows him, and for sure he is so motivated for this race. But it's not the only one. I think the French team is very strong too, with Fred Belot, maybe the strongest one. A lot of Greg Bennett from Australia. There's maybe 10 or 12 guys who can win a race, but for sure Simon here is the most dangerous one.
The final day of competition dawned fair, and there was no question that the swim would be cancelled for the under-23 race. There were high expectations for Great Britain's Alistair Brownlee, who could have competed in the elite race, but chose this event instead.
I thought I'd come here and I'd be one of the favourites and hopefully cope with a bit of pressure and pull off a good result, hopefully win, hopefully podium, we'll see how it goes.
could have chose to go in the lead. Why choose to go in the under 23?
Going as an under 23 gives me a chance to learn to win a race like that rather than just maybe aim for a top 10.
Brownlee had an excellent swim and came into transition in second place. This meant he was able to get out into the lead group on the bikes. So I'm joined here for the under 23 race by Alistair Brownlee's younger brother, Johnny. Johnny, congratulations on your medal.
Thank you.
In the juniors. We're here on a pretty dangerous corner.
Yeah, we are. Alistair's just in the front group here, and he's got to stay near the front and keep out of trouble, really. And he needs to stay there until the run. I think he's still in there. I can't see him.
I saw him go through.
Oh, good then. He needs to stay near the front, keep out of trouble, and he'll be fine, and get on the run and give it everything he's got.
Alistair stayed in the lead pack all the way through until second transition, and as one of the best runners in the field, it looked like nothing would stand in the way of the gold medal. But with freezing hands and feet, he did have a bit of trouble getting his running shoes on. And this is really what makes triathlon unique. You're competing against the elements as well as your fellow competitors. It didn't hold him up though, and he soon opened a big lead over the other athletes. So Johnny, it looks like you're going to be the first brothers ever to win medals at World Championships. Let's hope, fingers crossed.
Oh, that's great, yeah, I can't believe it.
And you've got a little something for him.
Yeah, I've got a flag to give him here when he runs down the finishing straight.
Oh, what flag is it?
It's Yorkshire, the flag of Yorkshire.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Go for it. And he won it comfortably in the end, 20 seconds ahead of his closest rival, becoming only the second athlete ever to win both junior and under 23 World Championship titles. So congratulations. First time ever in a World Championships that brothers have won medals.
Really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. You got the Yorkshire flag, I see.
Yeah, we're both proud Yorkshiremen.
Yeah. It looked like you were really cold coming off the bike.
I was absolutely freezing. I set off on the first lap, and when there's no circulation in your feet at all, and I just thought, right, just keep it relaxed, keep going, and yeah, I just got in my own rhythm really and ran my own race.
You really ran away from them on the first lap of the run though, you just sort of real spurting.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I just tried to get in my own rhythm, and I think everyone was cold, and it was a bit more survival in the toughest lap, and see if they put the fastest.
No, it was brilliant. Good job. Good job. So with brother Jonathan and a large British contingent in the crowd cheering on, Alistair Brownlee stepped up to collect Great Britain's second gold of these World Championships.
Alistair Brownlee from Great Britain.
I think instead of champagne, he might have preferred a nice hot cup of tea though. We should also tell you that Britain's Todd Leckie finished fourth. It's been a fantastic start to the day for Great Britain, and now it's time for the elite competition. The women will kick us off, and remember, for GB, it's all about qualifying that third spot for the Beijing Olympics.
The elite women in their orange swim caps make their way out onto the beach for the start of the 2008 Vancouver BG Triathlon World Championships. Lined up, ready to complete the Olympic distance triathlon of 1.5 kilometres of swimming, 40 Ks on the bike, and a 10K run, and away they go over the seaweed-strewn beach into the shallow water. It takes a little while until it gets deep enough to dive, and then they plunge into the icy waters of the northern Pacific, dolphining out at the start, jostling for position, looking to get clean water. And now they have to grit their teeth and get on with it. Compulsory wetsuits, and they've chosen good thick wetsuits, I should imagine, with the water temperature as it is.
Well, of course, the thickness of the wetsuits, Matt, limited by ITU regulations, but really tough conditions here. And if anything, you'd hope that they would really favour the Brits. We're used to the cold conditions. We race most of the time at home in cold conditions, and we're informed that the water temperature is just a fraction over 12 degrees centigrade here. 12 degrees centigrade.
Yeah, cold hands, cold feet, cold faces to contend with. Let's hope it does, in fact, favour the British team, and they can challenge for that third place in the Olympics in Beijing in August. Now, there's quite a pack forming, two distinct groups, in fact. Sarah McClarty of the United States up there in the lead group. Liz Blatchford, who's bidding for that third place, has started positively. Sarah Haskins, Helen Tucker, Kerry Lang and Emma Moffat all up there. Moffat from Australia, and Vanessa Fernandez, who didn't really look particularly confident when we spoke to her earlier, battling in very unfamiliar, freezing weather conditions. She's used to the warmth of European waters. Sarah McClarty with 4 or 5 lengths distance now over Liz Blatchford, who's encouragingly in second position.
Well, it's really spread out quite early on here, hasn't it, Matt? The cold water temperature has made a huge difference. But we've got the Americans and the British girls leading there on this loose pack at the beginning. Sarah McClarty there, Liz Blatchford, as we said, Sarah Haskins, who always features highly in the swim. But it's great to see Helen Tucker and Kerry Lang up there as well for Great Britain. So 3 British women in the top 5, along with those 2 United States athletes.
Now they make the turn. Off to their left, quite a gap forming. Sarah McClarty is really taking on the challenge of this swim, and she's opened up daylight between her and Liz Blatchford and Sarah Haskins. The chasing group includes Abby Thorington of Great Britain, Laura Bennett of the United States, Sarah Groff of the United States, Jessica Harrison, formerly of Great Britain and now racing for France, is also a contender at this stage.
I think when we see something like this, it almost takes us back to the early days of triathlon, where a lot of the race was actually going against conditions. I'm sure some people there remember way back before wetsuits were even allowed. But with wetsuits here in Vancouver, the water temperature, as I say, just legal, just a fraction over 12 degrees centigrade. It really is battling against conditions as much as pure swimming ability. But when we look at the athletes here at the front and we just look at that stroke, it's a lovely long stroke, it's controlled there by McClarty, and she is getting away, and it's unusual at this level now to see the athletes spreading out so much. Up to the Athens Olympics 4 years ago, we got used to seeing that, didn't we, with the American swimmers? They were such class there, and they seem to have continued that through with a new generation, with McClarty and Haskins particularly, who are always up there and dominating. Really, with the United States athletes, they're almost front-loaded. We know that they're good on the swim, we know that they're good on the bike, and if anything, the run is a little bit suspect. So they've got to make their move early on.
That's the view from Vancouver, which will be hosting the Olympic Winter Games in 2010. Is arguably just one of a handful of cities that could potentially host both Summer and Winter Olympic Games. It did host the Commonwealth Games, or the British Empire and Commonwealth Games, as it was known, back in 1954. There's the skyline, just got a glimpse of the fabulous Vancouver skyline in the background. The water's still, at least. There was rough weather during the week. That's died off, the wind's gone, so the swim is taking place. But I imagine some of the athletes were kind of half hoping that it might be cancelled, like it was for some of the non-elite races.
That's a tough call, isn't it? I mean, fortunately, the water temperature did just get up to make it legal, and that would have been an awful situation if that hadn't happened. But still at the front end, McClarty leading a very, very comfortable lead there. Now, she's going to have all sorts of things going through her mind now. She's out by herself. She's a very, very strong bike rider, but the conditions are going to be cold. They're going to be difficult. Is she going to try and go by herself, or is she just going to sit back, have a time in transition, and wait, as we've seen so often, for a pack to form? It's really Sarah's choice now. She can go it alone, she can wait for 1 or 2 athletes to get with her, or she can sit back, get a big working group. I don't think that's going to happen. She's not going to be that comfortable with her running ability.
1 lap down, a second shorter lap to come in the first leg of this Vancouver BG Triathlon World Championships for 2008. McClarty with a clear lead. Blatchford is in amongst the leaders as well. We'll keep an eye out for Helen Tucker. There she is with the red and grey flashes on her wetsuit legs. Helen Tucker coming out of the water at the end of lap 1 in 7th position. Good start for Tucker, who recently finished 2nd at the World Cup in Madrid, the last stop of the World Cup Tour. Finished as the winner of the Pan American Triathlon Cup in La Paz in South America as well, and 3rd at the World Cup that was held in Beijing a couple of years ago. So she's got some promising form on the Olympic course. Sarah McClarty back in the water, away she goes again on her 2nd lap.
It's good to see Helen Tucker back. She's had so many injuries, Matt, through the last 2.5 years. Remember back at the Commonwealth Games down in Melbourne, she crashed on the bike there when she was in a very, very strong position. She's been dealing with injuries. She's had lots of things going on, lots of problems. It's just fantastic to see her back this season. As she said, travelling down to South America, she had to go to South America to get the points, can you believe, to be allowed to start in the World Cups. And now she's here.
Sorry, Steve, 22 just going through was Liz Blatchford, who, of course, is swimming, cycling and running for her place in the Olympic Games. This is a massive race for Blatchford.
Well, it's a huge race, and to be fair, Helen Tucker almost certainly has qualified by getting second at the Madrid race. That was the British trials. And really, Helen is here doing these World Championships to help Liz Blatchford through. At the moment, Great Britain have qualified just 2 women for the Olympic Games, and it is going to be, this is the final chance we have of getting 3 women in there, and the designated athlete is Liz Blatchford. That's why Helen Tucker is here.
At the end of the 1.5 kilometre swim, there's an obvious leader with a huge amount of yardage between her and her chasing rivals. It's Sarah McClarty of the USA, officially out of the water first. Liz Blatchford, number 22, starts to prepare for transition, removes her swim hat. The goggles are already off. Her hand goes behind her back as it does with all the others. There's Helen Tucker with the red and grey legs. They all start to get set for transition. It's got to be done quickly. It's got to be done efficiently and according to the rules. They've got a short run to the blue carpeted transition area. The bikes are all hung up with helmets and bike shoes already attached to pedals. This has to be done quickly, and it's not easy to get out of a wet wetsuit. Liz Blatchford doing 2 things at once, multitasking, helmet on, wetsuit off, and away she goes. This well-rehearsed routine. There's Fernandez, the pre-race favourite. She swum pretty well despite the conditions. There's Helen Tucker from Bridgend in Wales, aged 24 now, Tucker. Already guaranteed, or pretty much guaranteed, a place in Beijing. Now they cycle with bare feet, poised over the shoes on the pedals, and slowly but surely they'll ease the feet into the shoes, pull up the backs of the shoes over the heels, then they'll be comfortable and ready to ride 40 kilometres around the streets of Vancouver. Number 1, Lisa Norden of Sweden. Number 3 alongside her is Felicity Abraham of Australia, getting set and leading transition. 1 or 2 with waterproof gear over their triathlon suits as well. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Great Britain's Helen Tucker is leading the ITU World Championship field here. Vanessa Fernandez just behind her, so Sarah McClarty's early lead was cancelled out fairly quickly by the better cyclists amongst the elite women, and there's a group of 7 or 8 at the front of the field now. We'll expect that peloton to grow as the race progresses.
I think what we're going to see, Matt, is possibly just these cold conditions, the difficult conditions, having a huge impact on the race. We're not used to seeing a group getting away so quickly like this, are we? I mean, the way the swimmers came out of the water, OK, McClarty was up there, she was in front, but they were very, very close behind. And already, you know, Helen Tucker looks like she's going for it. If we talk about turning negatives into positives, get the cold conditions, Helen's thinking, well, actually, cold conditions, they're good for me. I'm a Welsh girl, I'm used to this. Let's just see what happens out here.
The bike course is 8 5-kilometre laps. Number 47 working hard. That's Sarah Haskins, originally from St. Louis, Missouri, now a resident of Colorado Springs in Colorado, not too far south of here. And this, the hardest hill on the course. It's where they turn left off Pacific Street and start to climb.
Just look at that, we're working hard up there. To tell you what, Haskins is going for it. Helen Tucker's not giving in at all. And it is, they're going for this early on. We're seeing almost a revamp of 4 years ago, Matt, when we saw those American girls just flying out from the front and trying to take the race by the scruff of the neck. That's what's happening here in Vancouver today.
And despite the inclement weather, there's a very healthy crowd out to cheer on the triathletes. They'll be looking for some Canadian interest. There isn't too much to shout about from the Canadian women's team right now. Kirsten Sweetland is their best. She's currently down in about 14th or 15th position. This is the second chasing group. They're 45 seconds behind the leaders.
That's a huge gap at this stage in the race, and I'll say again, I think these cold conditions have just had a huge physical, but probably more importantly, a mental impact on the athletes, and they just almost seem to have backed off, and this race is going to go to the brave, almost certainly. Though we've seen Haskins from United States of America, we've seen Helen Tucker. They're the athletes putting it on the line at the moment. Great to see Vanessa Fernandez out there. I mean, you know, if there is one athlete which most people would be putting their money on to win here, it's got to be Fernandez from Portugal, but she hasn't yet come to the front.
Right now, it's Sarah Haskins doing the work at the front of the field. Finished 10th a year ago in Hamburg and was second in the World Cup event that was held in Vancouver 12 months ago. This, of course, is a slightly higher tier event. This is the World Championship, the World Cup being the season-long tour that crisscrosses the globe.
Oh, we've got a group there, I think just 6 athletes away now. That's just the second lap of the bike, and they really are putting the hammer down. They're looking around, and they've gone for this. That second gap, that second chase group, 50 seconds down, just really the first part out of the swim. And first chase group we've got is 25 seconds down. That's a huge gap. 8 laps on this cycle course, and they're making all these conditions count immediately.
Right, let's go back down to the beach, and the men are about to begin their race. Javier Gomez introduced to the crowd. He is the man to beat. He was second after that sprint finish in Hamburg 12 months ago. He's won 3 World Cups already this season in Madrid, in New Plymouth and Mululava in Australia. The Spaniard, who was actually born in Switzerland, the big pre-race favourite, wearing number 1, and he's rightfully been given that number. There's the hooter, they're running, they're into the water, and they'll soon be swimming an identical course to the women. 1.5 kilometres of cold work ahead. Right, Graham Bell is with one of the up-and-coming stars of British triathlon.
Well, the men's swim is underway, and joining us for the elite race after his fantastic gold medal is Alistair Brownlee. Alistair, what's it like? What differs about swimming in this swim? Because it's not a pontoon start, is it?
Yeah, first off, everyone's got to charge into the water, and here the water's not too bad. It gets quite deep, quite fast. So normally you have to run a bit and then do some dolphin dives and stuff, but I think today there's probably about 2 or 3 strides worth, and maybe 1 or 2 dolphins, and you're straight into swimming.
And swimming in a pack like that, how different is that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things people don't realise about triathlon. It's such a difference. I mean, even I train for a different stroke, and you're getting hit all the time, and people are knocking your arm, so it's really hard work.
That's the scene from the helicopter high above the Pacific Ocean. Bevan Doherty is up with the leaders, the New Zealander who took the silver in Athens 4 years ago behind Hamish Carter, his fellow Kiwi who won the gold. Doherty now 31 years of age, one of the veterans, but still going strong. And good news for the Canadians, Simon Whitfield, who was the Olympic champion when triathlon made its debut as a sport in the Olympics in Sydney in 2000, is in amongst the leaders, and he's a decent swimmer, Simon, Steve.
He's a very good swimmer. I've known Simon for a lot of time, right from junior ranks, and swimming, if anything, was the thing that he really needed to develop on. Came through, I think he was 10th at World Juniors back in 1995, and just 3 years after that he was up and featuring, and one of the big surprises at the Sydney Olympics in any of the sports. Although, to be fair, he had showed a lot of form before then, was beginning to come through. He got another gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Manchester, and he really is now, he's gone from junior ranks to being one of the veterans up there, and he has no weaknesses at all. He's yet to win a World Championship title. He nearly got there in Edmonton, fell away on the run, and he would love to win it here in Vancouver in this Olympic year.
That's a spectacular shot from the helicopter as that arrowhead of white water makes its way around the turn. We'll make our way back out onto the tarmac and join the lead group in the women's competition. They're climbing again.
Well, still fairly early on. We've still got Haskins there, certainly got Helen Tucker there as well, which is fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough of Helen Tucker, the injuries, the misfortune she's had to deal with over the last couple of years, and yet she's been brave enough to come out to this World Championships to try to get that 3rd qualification place for Great Britain. And not only doing that, but she's up there and she's featuring here. She's not content to sit back. She's saying, OK, we've proved I'm back in form, I'm back, I fancy my chances here. Let's get up, let's mix it up the front, let's take it by storm. What a fantastic athlete.
Sarah Groff of the United States making the running on the chase group. Kerry Lang from Great Britain is with that group. Now up ahead, there's been a breakaway. Sarah Haskins has gone from the United States, and she's joined by Helen Tucker. Helen Tucker of Great Britain is tucked in behind Haskins. These two have left the others behind, and they've opened up quite a distance there. This is a decent looking break.
That's a big move, isn't it, Matt? They've really gone for that, and they just said, OK, we don't want to sit back, let's get back there. OK, and now we've got changes coming through, that grab there with Emma Moffat coming through, and just that athlete over there can't make her out, just looking to join. But this field is all over the place. It's you know, we had a lead group, 2 chase groups coming through, and just in the space of a couple of laps, that just seems to have gone just everywhere. Again, I must say, you know, it's got to be the conditions here, so cold on the swim, not just that, of course, but affecting the athletes, just the way that they're reacting when they're out here on the bike.
Yes, those that recovered quickest from the cold of the Pacific are doing better on the bike, and that, for the moment, looks like Haskins and Tucker, the American and the British triathlete, taking it in turns, doing the work at the front. Tucker will take her turn ahead shortly, but well, it's going to be tough for anybody to catch these two now, certainly on this stage of the triathlon.
It's not just the physical aspects, is it, Matt? It's just this whole mental attitude of being brave enough to say, well, you know, everyone's really upset about these conditions. Of course, we don't want to race here when it's like this. But for me, it can be an advantage. And that's exactly what Sarah Haskins and what Helen Tucker have done here. And they're just saying, OK, we'll go away. Now, the way that they've gone and the lack of reaction behind them from the group that they've left, and from that chase group, it has to be said, if they're going to just let these guys get out of sight, we know the cliche, out of sight, out of mind, and that's exactly what they're doing here, and you've got to say credit to both of them.
The chase group negotiating 1 or 2 speed bumps as they go through.
But they're not close, are they, Matt? We've got so used to seeing this on the ITU World Cup circuit and the major championships, where we get that chase group working so hard together. These are the girls working together here today. Helen and Sarah, you know, side by side, quick move around, look around, my turn in front, my turn in front. They're looking back, come on, let's keep it going, and we're going to be assured of medals.
It is dry at the moment, but there is quite a lot of surface water around, and all the bikers need to be prudent, especially on the sharp turns on this course. This is the chasing pair. Vanessa Fernandez, the world #1, Sarah McClarty, who was first out of the water. And we're back to the water now to see the men exit the swim at the end of their first lap. Simon Whitfield is up there. That was Hirakatsu Tayama of Japan, #22. There's plenty of them together, nothing to choose between the leading swimmers. A spectacular sight as they come round the buoy and back in for their second lap.
This is very different, isn't it, to the tactics we saw on the women's race, Matt, with pretty much, as you called it, that almost the whole of the field, well, in fact, the whole of the field there, within just a very few seconds' time. What we did see on the second lap of the women's was just that stretch out that started to move away, which had huge implications going into the bike. Now, if this big pack does stay together, it's going to be a totally different race for the men.
Stéphane Poulain of France leading the swim at this stage, and just tucked in behind him is Simon Whitfield of Canada. A couple of Canadians going well here. Paul Tichelar is also in the leading group, and not far behind, Brent McMahon is involved as well. So there'll be plenty for the local supporters to get excited about. Meanwhile, the leading women are now 54 seconds ahead. That's a massive advantage. It looks like the gold medal will be decided between these two. Sarah Haskins from the USA, Helen Tucker from Bridgend in Wales.
Oh, that's huge. That is absolutely huge, just working through there. And they've taken perhaps 30 seconds, something like that, just on that single lap. And we did see Vanessa Fernandez out there on the chase. So what's happened there with Fernandez? She went for it. Now she's got caught. This lap, this group has come back together. And it's almost, as we said, that those two athletes have gone away, and these athletes now almost prepared to go for second best. Maybe they're already mentally, we're thinking of a bronze medal here. They've given gold and silver. Or do they think they can catch up this huge back? What's going through the minds? Is it going to be the second half of the bike section? Is that what they're intending to? I don't think it'll happen. When conditions are tough like this, to move up a gear is extraordinarily difficult.
Simon Whitfield of Canada has been sharing the duties out in front of the swim. Stéphane Poulin of France also there. Paul Tichelar of Canada. Britain's only representative in this World Championship for the men, Ollie Freeman, is down in around 10th or 11th spot at this stage, so in with a chance. Good start for Ollie Freeman.
I think now what's going to be critical on this, the second part of the second lap, Matt, is the athletes know they're pretty much together, but it's jockeying for position so they can get a free run into transition. If they can do that, it just avoids any chance of being knocked over. Again, particularly in the cold conditions, they're going to get a good position out on the bike. And if there is a move, as we've seen on the women, then they're going to be ready to take advantage of it. And we are back with the women. And I don't think I've seen Helen Tucker move off those tri-bars since we've seen the whole situation there. We're on lap 6 out of the 8 now. Still the two away. And still they're just putting time into it. We talked about this. Helen's position. Bang, down she is on the tri-bars. Perhaps just a couple of seconds.
Look at the time difference now, Steve. Look at the time difference.
Just phenomenal.
1 minute and 40 seconds. It's a massive advantage that these two have opened up. They're miles ahead of the rest of the field. And Tucker is down, pushing hard, riding a big gear there and doing her fair share of the work at the front of the field.
They've just made a pact, haven't they? They've gone for it and they're tying up those. It's probably only 3 women in the world capable of being anywhere near closing the gap. 2 of them are in the field. Laura Bennett, of course, United States. Vanessa Fernandez. But Snowsaw from Australia isn't here. We saw what she did at Worlds last year. But to close that now, there's Fernandez right at the moment. She's content to sit back there. She's wondering what on earth has gone wrong. I'm the world #1 and I'm back here nearly 2 minutes adrift.
Also in that chasing group, Sam Warriner, who was born in the south of England, grew up in the northwest and races for New Zealand these days. Now Warriner was the winner of the Vancouver World Cup event that was held over a similar course here 12 months ago. She's in the chasing pack right now. Back with Tucker. 1 hour, 2 minutes and about 50 seconds gone. The final part of the bike and then a 10-kilometre run to finish off the 2008 Vancouver BG Triathlon World Championships.
Great performance by both these athletes here. We saw that shot of the chasing group, and it was just almost the fatigue and the cold and just the demeanour of the athletes they were cycling through, as if they had given best. And the confidence with the 2 athletes at the front now, just me going sky high. And again, this negative into positive. They're just going to be thinking, we've dealt with this so far. We're nearly there. We're certainly not going to give it up now. Huge chasing group coming through. But sometimes when you get such a big group like this, it's actually detrimental. There's nobody prepared to do the work at the front. We don't have a smooth turnover going through. We don't have that 2 lines, that scissor action working through. It's just not getting together, and the 2 leaders are getting more and more time ahead.
Liz Blatchford of Great Britain, Abby Thorington of Great Britain, and also Kerry Lang from Team GB are all in the chasing pack. But of course it's Blatchford who really needs to go for it to be sure of getting that 3rd Olympic place. Is her running good enough, Steve?
Well, Liz Blatchford is a great runner. We talked about Helen Tucker's injuries. Liz has had some injuries, but she really is back on form, and she's pretty much the designated athlete if we do get that 3rd slot. It really relies on the nation's world rankings. That's what they're up here for, to just get us above that. But other things come into play. Individuals, there's an ITU, there's an IOC criteria going through. What really isn't a doubt at the moment is that these 2 ladies have taken the field by storm. They've seized their opportunity, and I'm fascinated by what's going to happen on the 10-kilometre run. I cannot believe that 2 minutes is going to be closed down by the athletes, particularly in these cold conditions.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for Helen Tucker as she goes into the final part of this triathlon. There's the chasing group, a big group, but they're battling for the minor places. Let's go and check on the men to see what's going on. They are approaching the end of their swim. They'll be coming out of the water, getting rid of the wetsuits and moving into transition. Now there will be a lot of noise from the Canadian supporters because Simon Whitfield of Canada leads the way. Whitfield became the first ever men's Olympic champion back in Sydney in 2000 when he swam in the shark-infested waters of Sydney Harbour, and he's back to somewhere approaching his best now, making his way out of the water and onto dry land in Vancouver. Simon Whitfield of Canada closely followed by Stéphane Poulin of France. There's another Canadian, Paul Tichelard is third. Ivan Vasiliev coming out of the water fourth. He's closely followed by Hirokatsu Tayama of Japan. Javier Gomez, the big pre-race favourite, is fifth or sixth at the moment. Frédéric Berlode from France, Brett McMahon, another Canadian. Ollie Freeman is there somewhere in about 10th position. Fantastic reception for these guys.
Simon Whitfield's such a popular character. I mean, he's charismatic, he's funny, his interviews are superb. He has that ability to really make people feel a part of it. And as you say, you can't take it away from the Olympic champion back in 2000, Commonwealth Games champion, of course, in Manchester, and desperately wants, as we said earlier, this World Championship here in Vancouver.
There's a fantastic amount of noise as Whitfield exits transition. Let's join Graham.
So a good swim from Ollie.
Yeah, brilliant, perfect. Just where he wants to be, about top 15 in the pack, but not too much energy wasted. And quick transition.
So it's a massive pack. Surely someone's going to try and attack off the front.
Yeah, I think that someone's going to try and make some moves, but probably not on the first lap. Maybe get 2 or 3 laps in and see how it goes.
Big scramble as the guys come in and go out, leaving wetsuits scattered all over the transition area. Whitfield officially out of the water first, then Poulin and Tichelard, Vasiliev, Tayama, Gomez, and Freeman credited with 10th place at the end of the swim. Away they go for 40 kilometres around the streets of Vancouver. Whitfield with Paul Tichelard, 2 Canadians out in front. That's a welcome sight for the Vancouver locals.
Well, first lap is going to be just about sorting themselves out, looking around, checking. We saw them coming out the swim. It is a huge pack, and I wonder if anyone is going to be brave enough to do what we saw happen in the women's race, or if it's going to be just this pack going through again, conditions coming into play there, and maybe it's going to be down to a 10k round. Well, we talked about the big pack coming out. It looks like we've got a group working hard already.
Back with the women's competition, Haskins and Tucker are on their last lap, more than 2 minutes ahead of the chasing group, which includes Blatchford of Great Britain, Thorrington of Great Britain, and Kerry Lang of Great Britain. These two approaching transition for the second changeover. The bronze medal will come from one of these, could go to one of 25 triathletes today. They're unlikely to challenge for gold or silver. At least it would be very surprising.
Very unlikely, and you again, mental attitude, mental aspects of it. They know they're 2 minutes ahead. Whatever the discomfort there, they're going to be prepared to put up for there to take a gold and silver at the World Championships. Everything to go for these two athletes, and you know, they deserve it. They were the ones who put themselves on the line, saw the opportunity, made the breakaway. Nobody had that guts and determination to follow, and they've given second best to the two leaders.
15, Ali Sharp from Australia. Out in front, an American leading the way, but hot on her heels is young Helen Tucker from Wales. What a performance from Tucker after all the injuries she suffered. That's a great shot. Coming down the hill, the chasing group, after an hour and 19 minutes of triathlon.
Getting themselves prepared now for transition, and again, it's just a few seconds, just eating away from it. It's going to be so competitive on this big group to be trying to get up there first of all, and if they're not going to bridge that gap, and I just cannot see it there, who's going to be going for the bronze medal? They're still working so hard there. Look, neither of them have backed off. Again, it's just this, I guess, mutual respect they're going through. They've given everything, not just for themselves, but for each other. Just see there, just the American just leaning down, just getting her shoes adjusted. Again, they're not going to take any chances. You know, maybe a second's going to be critical even with this huge time gap here.
It's all slowed down at the chasing pack. Nobody pushing too hard. One or two of them just happy to sit at the back of the field. For Tucker and for Haskins, transition awaits now. And you just saw Helen Tucker lean down and start to work on her shoes so she can get her feet out of them as quickly as possible. There's a white line across the road. They have to dismount there and run as quickly as they can over to their allotted position for the second changeover. Haskins stops first. Tucker has a little bit further to go. She's got to hang her bike up properly. And then it's on with the running shoes. No laces to do up. Needs to get them on quickly. That right shoe is on. Haskins is away. Tucker hasn't seen her. She's got to get her helmet off now. And now she'll look and see Haskins ahead of her. That possibly wasn't the best transition we've ever seen from Helen Tucker. And Haskins has seized the opportunity. The American is away first.
Well, I've seen Sarah Haskins race so many times, I have never seen her come out of transition with such a speedy cadence. That's just a lovely, lovely turnover for the American girl. Picks up the water now, Tucker's got her in the sights. As you say, Matt, just a little bit longer there, but making sure she doesn't want any discomfort on feet. And now we talked about Haskins' cadence. Look at Tucker, she looks like an 800-metre runner. Watch those elbows drive back, arms across the body. She is not going to give anything in here. Closing down on Haskins, and here comes the chase pack.
Now Liz Blatchford has got to get this right. To be in with a chance, she needs to be into transition quickly and out of transition sharply. Blatchford's bike has toppled over. Her shoes, or she's struggling to get her shoes on. Helmet's down, she's away. So a decent transition time there for Liz Blatchford.
Yeah, a good transition there, a good transition for Blatchford.
Emma Moffat is in third at the moment, the Australian, but she's more than 2 minutes behind the leaders. Lisa Norden is currently fourth. Jessica Harrison is involved as well. Sam Warner is in about 7th or 8th. Blatchford officially 11th after the bike, so work to do for Liz Blatchford.
Well, that's a great exit from transition for the Australian working through there. I think now, you know, just trying to overcome these cold conditions, we are going to see some dynamic running, some very speedy turnover on the legs, just to try to get some warmth back in. Can you imagine what the feet feel like? They've been absolutely freezing cold, now just hitting down every time. So Tucker's back there, Tucker's on, and she's coming up to Sarah Haskins' shoulder. Hey, they've just had fantastic performance. Do you know, earlier this year, Helen Tucker was on the verge of giving up triathlon. And in just 5 months' time, 5 short months, she's gone from somebody who was totally despondent to being in with either the gold or silver medal at these World Championships. Everything going wrong for her. She was losing funding, and she's fought back against it. Strength of character and determination.
Now the men's bike field. Ollie Freeman is involved and in a decent position at this stage. The only British competitor in the men's competition. Ollie Freeman. Tony Moulet of France, Rito Hoog of Switzerland, Matt Reed of the USA, Brent McMahon of Canada. Simon Whitfield is a little way towards the back of this group. Whitfield, who was the first man out of the water, has lost his lead. They're on the third lap, the men. Third lap of eight 5-kilometre loops to complete the 40 Ks.
Well, that amount of time gone and really nobody making a significant move at all, and it has to be done fairly early on. They can't afford to leave it much more than one more lap to go. Somebody having a few problems at the back there, but the majority of the athletes staying together.
Right, it's time to hear once again from Graham, who's with Alistair Brownlee.
So Alistair, when you're riding in a big group like that, how much energy do you save sitting in the pack?
Well, people throw about numbers and they say about 25% to be on a wheel, but if you're on a wheel it's more difficult getting around corners because there's people braking in front of you, so I always try and stay in about the top 5, and that's the safest place to be.
But then you're using more energy, but at least you're
exactly.
there if anyone breaks away.
Yeah, I think after about maybe 3 or 4 back it's not massively different. You're safer around corners and there's less likely to be crashes in front of you.
There is a huge group leading the men's triathlon. No one has thought of making a break right now. 1 or 2 out in front doing the work. Others taking the easy option of slacking it off and sitting in behind, not doing too much work at the front. Now we've got a break on.
We've got a break, but it's so difficult when one athlete goes by themselves. That's the difficult thing. I'll be looking back. You need some help out there, and you have to think, you know, getting towards halfway on the bike. If some of the men are sitting back and thinking, well, we're just going to rely on our running legs to take us through today. Let's look at the size of that pack, mate. It's just so difficult to break away when it's like this anyway.
So unlike the women's competition, the men's race is wide open. Very difficult to pick a winner from that lot, but it's going to be between these two in the women's competition. Haskins on the right from the USA. on the left from Great Britain, Helen Tucker.
They're both running well, and again, credit due to Sarah Haskins. She's running better than I've ever seen her before. She's really picked up her game over the last 15 months on the running ability, particularly. Never been in doubt with what she can do in the water and on the bike, but now she's become a great all-round triathlete, as indeed as Helen Tucker, coming through from the youth development plan, coming through, and Emma Moffat chasing through in third place.
Emma Moffat of Australia currently in third. And behind her is Lisa Norden of Sweden. Sam Warren not too far behind. Sam always a clever runner. She'll pace herself well before she strikes for the chance of another medal, yet another medal in World Cup, World Championship Triathlon, but it'll only be a bronze because gold will go to either Haskins of the USA or Tucker of Great Britain. Still only on the first lap, so they've got over 6.5 Ks to go. Their lead still comfortable, 1 minute 40. It won't be eaten into now. Things beginning to warm up around Vancouver. It stayed dry, thankfully. Rain on top of the cold would have added insult to injury. There's Emma Moffat of Australia, currently in third position. No Emma Snowsill here this year. She's saving herself for the Beijing Olympic Games, where these two are undoubtedly heading as well. Haskins will be there, unless she's very unlucky, for the United States, and Tucker will be hoping, well, they must surely guarantee her place at Beijing now, Steve.
But Tucker, I mean, she's fulfilled all the criteria. She got second in that Madrid Olympic trial race for Great Britain. The American decision isn't fully made yet, but they're going to be looking at Sarah Haskins now. Haskins just looking over at Tucker, and I guess they're saying, we're doing pretty good here, girl. And you can bet your life that Helen Tucker's going to be wanting Sarah Haskins to go to the Olympic Games if they can repeat this sort of performance there. Helen Tucker, she's been good right through the junior ranks. She doesn't have a weakness now, and she has just overcome so many different things. We said earlier this year she was on the verge of packing up. She'd lost that level of funding that she had through the BTF, and she was down to what they call E-funding, which really is not very much at all. So, you know, the priority for her, as seen by people around her, they thought, well, maybe she's not going to make it through. And isn't it fantastic when somebody comes along and just proves them wrong and says, you know, I can do this by myself. She chased the races just to get here, and now she's in that gold, silver medal position. Well, the Australian still holding third place, but we've got two. Well, yes, Norton is there. That's Sam Warriner coming up now, Matt. Sam Warriner and Densham as well from Australia. So 4 athletes, it looks, to be in contention for the bronze medal at least.
Another American coming through, that's Groff, who was prominent early on. May of Luxembourg, Felicity Abram of Australia coming through. Debbie Tanner of New Zealand in the traditional black. Here's Kate Allen, the Olympic champion from Athens. And the British triathletes, Liz Blatchford, she's some way back. Liz might struggle to make the Olympics unless she can really improve from here.
It's really the team position that we're looking for with Helen Tucker coming through. So Liz Blatchford needs to be here to race, but it's the overall British team position in world rankings. That's the one that's going to be critical. And we really are right on the edge for her. Sam Warren now moved through, and she's biding her time for that first 2.5, 3 kilometres. Now she's moved there and she's back in contention. Tucker, I think for the first time, Matt, we've seen Tucker just about putting a little bit of daylight between herself and the American. It's not much, it's not significant, but mentally she's taken the lead now, and she's getting there, she can feel it. She can feel what it's like to be world champion, and it may well happen. Sam Warriner holding third place, putting the hammer down just a little bit now. We can see a bit of a struggle there at the back of that small pack just to try and stay with Sam.
Warriner looks the more comfortable of the 4 there, and she's striking for third place for the bronze medal. The men are deep in conversation at the front of the bike field. Lap 5 of 8. Number 35 is Stéphane Poulain of France, in conversation with 28, which is Brett McMahon of Canada. I don't know if it was an argument or a friendly chat.
I think you can sense the frustration there, can't you? People looking behind, one or two of the athletes willing to really go for it, to try to make that break, but they need somebody else to get there. They really do. It's so difficult to try and make the individual breakaway. Of course, it's been done in the past, but the sport has been changing, and athletes are not going to let one athlete go away. Now we're seeing a break. Perhaps we're going to get a couple on, maybe 3 or 4 joining them, make a significant move to get away from that. But we've got to keep going, guys. We can't just go to the front and then just ease off. It doesn't matter if it's downhill. We've got to keep that pressure on, make a significant break. You go and you go and you go again until the daylight's appeared.
Matt Reed it is who's taking his turn at the front, dropping his head low down onto his handlebars just to try and get aerodynamic on this descent. Javier Gomez, the pre-race favourite, the world #1, is in that group somewhere, but yet to make a significant move. We can only assume that Gomez is taking it easy and conserving his energy for a sprint finish.
Well, we're back with that pack, and we're looking at the Australian men there. Greg Bennett just gone through. Greg Bennett, who did so well at Athens on the run section, so perhaps he's thinking of that at the moment. The way that World Triathlon is changing, the Australian men, similar to the British women, have only qualified at the moment 2 men to go to the Olympic Games this year. And they're in the same situation. We had Helen Tucker coming in for the British women to try and get that 3rd place. We've got the men here from Australia who are fighting desperately, so they will have 3 men on the starting line in Beijing. With the women, one woman who is 99% sure of being there, Helen Tucker from Great Britain, and Sarah Haskins here on lap 2 is going to be desperately hoping that she is impressing the USA selectors for that Olympic Games.
Densham has taken it up in 3rd position, just behind her Moffat. Then Warriner has dropped back, and Norden in the blue behind them as Warriner strides up forward, just lengthens her stride a little bit, injects a little bit of pace and tries to dominate this battle for 3rd position. That's what's on offer here, nothing more than that. It's all about the bronze medal between these 3, the 2 Australians and the New Zealander.
And they are moving away now, aren't they? Lisa Norden did so much work early on, but she's really dropped back. What's that? 25, 30 metres and seems to be going back in. There's just these little surges coming through from Sam Warren as she's testing the other athletes out. Haskins back now with Tucker, and Haskins looked like she's fighting hard. We're almost beginning to see the build-up of an extended run in from the line. It's a long way out yet, but they're tasting it. They're tasting it. They've got around 1.5 minute lead, so they are making inroads, but they're certainly not going to close that down.
Tucker has a ½ a yard advantage. Haskins tries to respond. Of the 2, Tucker looks the more comfortable at this stage, and Warren is always tall and strong and powerful, and the Australian pair, Densham and Moffat, are having to run in her shadow right now.
Strong, aren't they? So the 2 Australian girls have come through their development system, juniors under 23s. Sam Warriner seems to have been around forever. We've seen her at the Salford World Cup so many times, always done well there, and really quite a popular favourite with the British crowds when we've seen them before. They're going for the bronze, these 2 athletes going from the golds. Again, the pace has picked up slightly, the cadence is up there. Oh, we can hear the crowd really lifting behind them. Tucker more and more at the front now. We had Haskins leading through, then there was a switch over. Now Tucker is just perhaps beginning to edge ahead. Sam Warriner, it's just a face set in stone there. Total focus, total concentration, determined to get it, as I'm sure the 2 Australian girls there. Who wants it the most? I'm sure Helen Tucker does. I'm sure Sarah Haskins does as well there. They're not going to give in. This is going to go right to the wire.
The pace has lifted markedly at the front of the field. It's fairly steady in the battle for 3rd. They are 1 minute and 38 seconds behind. And Norden has dropped right off the place now. The Swede really looking tired and really struggling with the pace of this. Now we'll look back through the field. We need to see Liz Blackford up there somewhere. Felicity Abram coming through. Another American. There's no sign of a British vest at this stage.
Well, they are going through. Sarah Groff there. Sarah Groff, another of the American athletes who just lifted her running so much in the year. As she's come through since that fantastic World Championships last year that we saw in Hamburg. Again, rather veterans there. Elizabeth May from Luxembourg. no one really making a significant inroad on the women's field. The men's pack still staying together. There's the ups and downs, the round and rounds. Athletes beginning to feel their running legs now, and into the final lap. Nobody's going to make a move now. The only move we may see will be athletes trying to come up on the outside so they get a clear run through, into and out of transition. No big breaks on the men's field. Disappointing to see, but totally understandable. A total difference from the women's field on the bike.
Yeah, it's unusual not to see any significant breaks at all over the course of 40 kilometres, but they've stayed together as a pack. And they're just ambling along, really. There's no real pace in the race at this stage for the men. It will come down to a foot race, 10 kilometres, 3.3 kilometre laps. Who would you put your money on at this stage, Steve?
Well, you'd like to put your money on Simon Whitfield, wouldn't you? The popular favourite, world champion again in Canada. But, of course, Javier Gomez is the man in complete control. He's just demonstrated so many times through just about every World Cup he goes there. He's on the podium now. That single hiccup at Worlds in Hamburg last year. So it's got to be with him. Bev Doherty, of course, a great competitor. When it comes down to the wire, he has that sheer guts and pure determination. Love to see Whitfield doing it. I guess you've got to go with Gomez at the moment.
Greg Bennett out of the saddle and pushing the pace at the front of the peloton. They're coming through the area known as Stanley Park in Vancouver now. Nice green area, not too many crowds around here. It's all very quiet. To be quite honest with you, the race hasn't really given the crowd, the men's race, too much to get excited about, apart from that moment when Whitfield came out of the water first.
There's so many different things happening in Olympic year, aren't there? And the Australians, could you have even thought that the Australians would not be qualifying 3 men for the Olympic Games? And they are in severe difficulties here. Greg Bennett going through. Greg Bennett, he was fabulous at Athens. He needs the Australians to qualify 3 men, because if they don't, he is not going to be going to Beijing. It's going to be down to the run. We know that Bennett can run well off a hard bike ride, but this bike ride really hasn't been that tough at all. The athlete's going to be going in with relatively fresh legs, and it's going to be fascinating. But I sense a little disappointment, I guess, in the crowd as well, that they haven't seen those moves and the bravery that we did on the women.
So, as the men approach transition for the second and final changeover, let's go down and hear from Graham, who's with Alistair Brownlee once again.
So the pack's all coming in together. We're looking for Ollie. Does he have a chance on the run?
He's got a good chance of anyone else, I suppose, but obviously the favourite's Gomez and there's Whitfield here. But yeah, he's definitely going to get a solid top 10, I would have thought. Good transition, he's struggling a bit, his feet are probably freezing, so what Ollie?
Yeah, frozen feet, the runner's worst nightmare, and there are some who are really struggling with it now. Some hobbling out of transition. Rito Hug of Switzerland, he's sprinted away, he'll be used to the cold. And Matt Reed of the USA, big powerful man, he's right up there with the leaders. Tony Moulet officially the quickest after the bike section, followed by Hug, followed by Reed, followed by Brent McMahon, who was the best of the Canadians. Paul Tischler, also of Canada, down in 11th, and Simon Whitfield officially 15th after the bike. But it's Hug of Switzerland who leads the way.
Well, Rito Hug leading there. He's got great pedigree. He's done so well at European and World Championships previously. Good to see Simon Whitfield just going through there. Obviously moved through quite significantly through that transition there and up there and working through. Early days, of course, on the run, and we saw what happened to Lisa Norden of Sweden on the women's race by possibly going out there a little too fast. But back with the women's race, and this is where the real action is. Oh, Haskins is moving through. Sarah Haskins, United States. A gap opened, she went straight back to it. Helen Tucker has lifted the pace. They're identical, aren't they? Look at the arm action, look at the cadence, look at the knee lift, everything going there. Haskins she's challenging and challenging and challenging. And Tucker will not give way to this at the moment. Every single action is crossed by a reaction from the other athlete there. They both want gold, they both want it desperately. Way into that last lap, and I really couldn't call this at the moment. I know where my heart lays, but I don't know what my mind says to do.
Sam Warriner has made a little break to try and hold on to third position, but the Australian pair behind her aren't giving way, and Warriner has a battle on her hands here for the last of the 3 available medals here today. But of course, this is really the sideshow. The main event is going on way ahead of them between Great Britain's Helen Tucker and Sarah Haskins of the USA for the World Championship title. Haskins goes again. They're practically sprinting. They've been shoulder to shoulder for the whole of the race. Will this now be the decisive break from Helen Tucker of Great Britain? Has she broken the American? Haskins digs deep to respond, but Tucker's timing has been perfect, and it looks as if Haskins has got nothing left. Tucker is sprinting away to become champion of the world. What a fantastic finish, and Helen Tucker is the world champion. Haskins settles for silver in the end after a courageous race. And the two embrace. What a finish, what a fight between them. And what a result for British triathlon on the eve of the Olympic Games. The world champion is Helen Tucker from Bridgend in Wales. There's a sprint going on for third, and Warriner might just get there. Sheer power brought her home. Just ahead of Densham. Warriner stole third position there. Densham will be absolutely distraught that she let it go. She's lifted to her feet. She missed her medal by fractions of a second. What an exciting finish. What a brilliant finish to the women's competition.
Well, Helen Tucker, world champion, the almost forgotten woman of British triathlon. She is now the world champion, and I'm crying here in the commentary box.
There's confirmation. Tucker takes the gold. Haskins beaten into silver medal position. Warriner just coming through for the bronze. But after all the excitement of the women's finish, we'll see how the men are getting on as they pound the streets of Vancouver now. And there's a very big group, as one would expect after such a massive peloton, over 40 kilometres on two wheels.
Yeah, they're still very close together. We've got a group, possibly 10, 12 athletes there leading through, but such early days. Big Matt Reed there holding second place at Gomez lurking in fourth. Javier Gomez lurking in fourth there. The man who's proved he can run the legs off just about everybody, and there we see him.
Yeah, Van Rania, another Spaniard, another former world champion, is also in amongst it, but it's Gomez who's looking threatening with the yellow shoulders on his singlet. He's now right up and about to possibly take his turn at the lead of the men's race. Now, as we catch our breath in the commentary position, Helen Tucker has caught hers and Graham Bell has tracked her down.
Could you really believe it when you got off the bike?
No, I mean, I still thought we were going to get caught when we came off the bike. There's some really fast runners in that pack behind, and I thought because me and Sarah Haskins have worked really hard on the bike, I thought, you know, maybe it's just not going to be a good day for running. So, yeah.
Who did the most work on the bike between you and Sarah?
For the first few laps, definitely Sarah. I was just hanging on her wheel. She was so strong. And then I think towards the end, she got a bit tired because she'd worked so hard. So I took more turns towards the second part of the bike. And yeah, and then we just hit the run. And I was a bit worried I wouldn't get my feet in my shoes because I couldn't feel my feet. And it did take me a while. And I still thought on the run, I thought, oh, you know, they're going to catch us on the run. And it wasn't until kind of the last lap where I thought, at the last turn point, I thought, oh, we might get this now.
And did you really think that, you know, do you know that you could out-sprint her? I mean, how do you know how much you still have in the tank?
I'm a rubbish sprinter. I'm really bad. So I was like, I thought she was going to get me. But we do a run session, and our run coach, Steve Brace, he went to the Olympics. He always makes us do a fast 200 at the end of every session. So I was thinking about Steve in that last like K, thinking, come on, just hang in there for the 200, hang in there for the 200, and it worked.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely incredible performance. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
So Helen Tucker now very much an Olympic hopeful. Unfortunately, Liz Blatchford's 17th position wasn't enough to guarantee the British women's team a third member of the squad to go to Beijing, so there will just be 2 women racing in China in August. Gomez strikes the front of the men's race.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's in the top 10.
Ollie's lying 10. Gomez looks like he's starting to put the hammer down now.
Yeah, he really did. Gomez was on the front and they're all strung out for the first time, so it looks like the pace is getting faster.
And your tip for the win?
I think it's got to be Gomez, the safe options.
Gomez it is who leads the way. Bev Doherty of New Zealand in the white top is in second position. And in third place at this stage, Rito Hug of Switzerland. But they're all trying to keep pace with the world number one, the man who was beaten in that dramatic sprint finish in Hamburg 12 months ago by a German, of course. Here he is, looking to make amends for that silver and turn that into gold in 2008. Javier Gomez of Spain.
Well, we've got a significant break on now with those three athletes away. There's Whitfield alongside his teammate going through. Now, what's he going to do? He can't afford to leave this too late. When he won the Olympic gold in Sydney, he was up there, he was challenging the whole time through. He did not allow a gap to open. That has already occurred here, and we've seen the three athletes away. And Gomez is making a significant move on Doherty and Rito Hug coming through there. A big move from Javier Gomez.
Now, to add insult to injury, Doherty and Hug will watch Gomez going back the other way as they come round that turn. That's never good psychologically. He's wearing number one. He leads the way. Sissoko of Russia coming through. There's Ollie Freeman, the only British man in this competition, down in about 10th or 11th position at this stage. Look at the gap. It's good now for Gomez. It is go for Gomez.
Let's go for Gomez, and you just know that going through his mind at the moment is what happened last year in Hamburg, where he had to give best to Daniel Unger, coming through onto that final 400, 600 metres, a huge sprint finish there. Gomez is not going to leave it until the last quarter of a mile this time. He's going for it. Simon Whitfield still holding there in 4th or 5th place, but he cannot afford to leave it anymore. He's got to make that move up, just beginning to get in front of Ollie Freeman as they lead that small pack.
Whitfield, potentially the best of the Canadians, but this man is on fire today. Gomez is full of running. He's got the feeling back in his feet. He swam well, took it easy on the bike. There's Bevan Doherty, the Olympic silver medalist in Athens, the Commonwealth Games silver medalist in Melbourne. There's Rito Hug. He's having to try and keep tracks on Doherty now. This is the battle for the silver medal at this stage of the race.
He's a great athlete, Rito Hug. He's been around for such a long time. He made this a big dynamic entrance into triathlon just around 10 years ago now. Was straight up to the top of the Swiss rankings, did so well at all the major championships, and he's still there 10 years on the line. Whitfield up there, Besusiov from Russia, but you can hear the bells going, you can hear everything. I mean, they've got to make a move. He cannot afford to leave it too late.
Can the crowd do enough as they come through Stanley Park? Can the crowd do enough to lift Simon Whitfield, to give him an extra bit of energy? There's Brent McMahon, another one of the Canadians. He's running a lonely race, and so is Javier Gomez, but he's in the best position. He leads the World Championship, and there's no one within sight of him at this stage. The Spaniard has raced a masterful triathlon, tactically at least. It's a massive gap now to Doherty. Doherty can't even see Gomez anymore.
He really has broken away. Hug's still there holding on to Doherty, with that gap beginning to open between 2nd and 3rd right at the moment. With that gap opening, as we just see the extended field there, even more between 2nd and 3rd place before going back to the pack. Well, Gomez now a lead of 15 seconds.
15 seconds at this stage over Doherty, who's beginning to look a little race weary. Number 3 on his arm, silver medal in his sights, Doherty. I don't think he looks like a man who's going to track down Javier Gomez, but significantly he's opened a gap over Rito Hug, and Hug couldn't keep pace with the Kiwi as Doherty just injected a bit of pace into the battle for silver.
Yeah, just beginning to lift now. Gomez just looks so lovely, such a smooth running action. Totally focused on what he has to do, nothing coming in from sideways. There's a beautiful front shot as he runs through. Again, just the power. They're moving up almost to be middle distance runners, the sort of thing we identify with 800, 1500 metres running on the track. He knows he's got it now. He won't need to look behind. He knows he's running free. He's going to sense that from the crowd reaction. He's going to sense that, as we see on the turn, Matt, as you said earlier, he's going to be going back knowing that he's opened the gap, and that gap is enough.
Once again, Doherty will watch the Spaniard go past him, ahead of him. There's Hendrik de Villiers of South Africa, very good runner.
Well, Henry de Villiers, he won the London Triathlon in 2006, a couple of years ago, and he does come from a running background. He's had a lot of success on the ITU World Cup circuit the last couple of years, particularly when it's been down to the run, and he's making big inroads on Rito Hoog. We thought Rito had the bronze medal safely, but maybe not, maybe not.
Yeah, de Villiers slowly but surely eating into Hoog's lead. Hoog is having to call on his reserves of energy to stave off this challenge. De Villiers has got his sights set on Hoog's medal.
He really does, doesn't he? Just the different shots there. Just look at that. That's it, Gomez just checking now. My goodness me. Isn't that lovely? Look back and see empty space. Know that you have that World Championship gold medal within your grasp.
There's a hint of a smile on the face of Javier Gomez. I wonder if he'll get the chance to collect a flag as he approaches the finishing line. The crowd getting right behind him, and now he can start to celebrate. Javier Gomez of Spain eases down, takes the applause and celebrates. He is the champion of the world. Gomez wins gold in Vancouver emphatically. There was no one near him. He is world number one, and he is now the world champion. And there'll be short odds that he won't do the golden double and pick up the Olympic title as well. He's got time to refuel as he looks back to see the man who's about to take the silver. Bevan Doherty of New Zealand adds the World Championship silver medal to the silver he won in Athens, and Hoog has got a little bit in reserve and battles away from de Villiers to be sure of taking a medal. De Villiers will have to settle for fourth. It's a bronze for Hoog, and can Whitfield save some Canadian pride? He collapses over the finishing line, beaten by Matt Reed there, I think. Simon Whitfield in sixth. No great celebrations for the Canadian team or the Canadian crowd, but the Spanish Olympic team will be looking forward to Beijing with great expectations. Gomez is the world champion. Confirmation of the results. Gold goes to Gomez, the silver to Bevan Doherty. Rito Hoog of Switzerland takes the bronze. Ollie Freeman of Great Britain finished in 15th position. Now the medal ceremony for the women's competition, and what a proud, unforgettable moment this will be for 24-year-old Helen Tucker.
The gold medal at the 2008 Vancouver BG Elite World Championships. Helen Tucker from Great Britain.
Fantastic moment for Helen Tucker. And to think of all the problems she's had over the last couple of years with injury, with coming close to giving up the sport. And let's hope she can repeat this performance and in a couple of months' time be standing on top of the Olympic triathlon podium. Let's hear from Heather Williams, who must be absolutely thrilled.
Well, you've got a World Championship gold, slightly unexpected.
Absolutely tremendous, you know, absolutely superb race from Helen today. You know, obviously we came here with an objective really purely to try and secure a third spot for the Olympics, but we've come away with a world champion, and, you know, you can't really ask for more than that, so just very, very well done to all the girls today, and especially to Helen.
And in first place, Javier Gomez.
While the British team celebrated, it was also time for Javier Gomez to enjoy his gold medal. The Spaniard has dominated the men's circuit over the last 2 years, and this success was long overdue.
Coming up next, it's the final of the Queen's Club Tennis. But for now, from Vancouver, it's been a golden weekend for the British team, with world champions in each age category. Crowned, of course, by Helen Tucker in the women's elite race. Lots to look forward to at the Olympics in Beijing.